You'll have to excuse my mess. I got a mess going on here, but this is how I do the basic principle of the Marilyn Monroe stencil of her blowing the bubble. It's four stencils. It's four separate stencils. The first layer I'm going to do gray, the second layer black, the third layer will be a light pink, and then the fourth layer will be a darker pink from the light pink. The two pinks, you can change it up any color, however you want to do it. You can do any colors on these. How I cut my stencils out on the silhouette, and as they come off from cutting, I mark the number on there. I put a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4 on the layers, so I'll know. And then those, you can see the little pieces of the bubble that you have to save. That circle, that main circle is trash because it's not part of the stencil, but you do need those little parts. I have that board there because you'll see in a minute I'm going to spray some adhesive, spray adhesive for it to stick to the canvas. And I'm going to move the board away with the canvas, spray on the cardboard, and then that board will protect the canvas from sticking to the spray adhesive. Also, as soon as I cut one layer, I put an X on it before I peel it off the mat, so that way I know it's the front. I know now, but that's just how I did it from the beginning, and that's the easiest way to do it. You'll see I put an X on all of my stencils on the front. That way when I go to spray my spray adhesive, I'll know to flip it over. This here is the first layer. I'm going to move my board here, and I'm going to flip it to the back. And then I got this spray adhesive at Walmart. I think it was like $7 back in the craft section. The thing about this spray adhesive, though, is it is temporary permanent. So if it sets on your canvas too long, it will become permanent. So, see, it looks like it's Elmer's Bond, Craft Bond. If you're going to do this with, like, use the stencils as, like, sponge paint, I wouldn't use the spray adhesive. I would tape it on and then do it in sections because if this sets on too long, it will stick. And you want to make sure when you put this on here, you want to make sure with that spray adhesive, less is more. And how I line this up, the right part of her shoulder, well, it's hard to see in this video. The smaller part of the shoulder goes in the far bottom corner, as close to the bottom corner as you can get it. And then the shoulder that has more stencil to it, it goes up a little bit. They're not even. I know my stencil is perfectly square, but it's hard to line it up on this canvas, so I always flip it over and see if I can square it up that way. And then you can push in the middle. I need to get me a board cut out to put, or you can cut your board out to put in the middle of the canvas so you'll have a flat surface to press against because you want it to really press down good so you don't have any overspray. And you want to go through and make sure all your little pieces are pushed down pretty good. On this part, you could subtract the nose out if you wanted to, but I use the nose as my guide for Stencil 2, and you'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. The spray paint I used on this, it's Krylon Max. I got that at Walmart. A pointer for the spray paint, the cap, the spray cap is not good, so I would test it in the store. I've taken so many cans back because just the way the cap is, if it doesn't work, it's not any good. The whole can's ruined. You can't even switch out caps. On this layer, I think I sprayed too much paint. You could just lightly spray it, but this dries so fast. You just peel it right after you spray it, peel it right off. That paint right there, it'll dry within less than a minute. And then you can just go right on to your step 2 or stencil 2. I would have really liked a lighter gray on the first layer. This is just the spray paints that I had on hand to do. I would have really liked a lighter gray though. I think it would have looked better. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to move my clean board I always move my board with the canvas. That cardboard is what I use to spray the adhesive on. Again, I don't want my canvas sticking to the cardboard. And then there's number 2. Flip it over on the back. And then this is the part I was talking about. I use the nose because the nose and the end product, you want the nose to be black. So I use the gray from the first layer to line up with the second, the nose in the first layer to line up with the stencil in the second layer. That way I know I have it square. And you want to make sure you have the eyes from the first stencil should be white because they were left. Then you want to cover that white part up with the second stencil too. That's your main thing, your nose and your eyes. And it is this that spray adhesive is repositionable, but I would say you have maybe 3 to 4 minutes, maybe 5 if even that. That spray paint there, it's a 98-cent can from Walmart. I wouldn't recommend that spray paint for this. I don't know if it was humidity here or what, but it's just it's the black that I had on hand. Um, it turns to powder on the canvas. It's like almost like you could just wipe it off. You could just almost rake it off once you pull the stencil off, or once it dried. It dried really quick. I mean, it dried within a minute, but you'll see here in a minute when I rub my finger across it, you can see the gray underneath. It just turned to powder, and I'm not sure why. But I do know why. It's cheap spray paint. It's 98 cents a can. I do use that for other things, and I didn't think that was going to be an issue with this, but it is. I would not use that 98-cent can spray paint for this. I believe that they have the Krylon Max at Walmart. It's like 386 a can, I believe. And I didn't do any skips in this video. It's from start to finish, this video. And it's not a perfect video by any means at all. I just wanted to do a quick video to show you how I did it. Here's the third stencil. You can see those little pieces. I just flip those upside down on the back. See, there's 3. I flip it upside down, and then I flip those pieces upside down as well on the back. Be careful when you spray it though, because the pieces will fly off. You'll see here in just a second when I sprayed the spray adhesive, they flew off. Um, but you want those little pieces because those 2 little pieces on the third stencil are what's going to create the illusion of a glare in the bubble that she's blowing. So you want those 2 pieces for sure. And how I created this stencil, it did take me about 3 days to create this 4-layer stencil. I used 3 different programs. I used it's called GIMP. It's a free software. And then I used CorelDRAW and Silhouette to cut it. So on this layer here, you just want to make sure you get it, like you want to make sure you get it with the nose, the edge of the nose, the bottom of the chin, and then what you would be looking at here. You could see black through here. Little trash piece, it's a discard piece. Tuck that in there just to see. I would put the 2 glare spots. On this layer here, I did spray the spray paint pretty thick, so I did get some bleeding underneath, but it doesn't look bad at all. Once it's all done, it doesn't look bad at all. But the file, what I had to do was I had to desaturate the image, and then I had to darken parts of it. Then that was in CorelDRAW, and then I brought it over to GIMP, and I traced it, and then I had to do layers. It had to be layered out into different layers, and you had to subtract which parts you wanted. And it did take a while because I'd never used the program before. So it was really a tedious process. And as you can see up at the top of the canvas where her hair is, I wasn't paying attention and my stencil was not big enough to cover that. I should have had another piece of paper to cover the top, but it's just for the video. So if you do that, make sure when you cover, because the 3 and 4 stencil is not going to cover the canvas, so you need something to cover up the part that you're not wanting to get sprayed that's left from the stencil. Overspray is what I believe is what it would be. And you can make this as big as you want as long as you can cut it out. You could probably divide it into sections and put it into sections. I just did it this size because that's the size of cardstock that I had. That's what I cut the stencils out with, cardstock. I'm not sure if I said or not. I used regular cardstock. I used, in the Silhouette, I used a blade of 3, thickness, speed of 4, and thickness of 24. And then that spray paint there, it was also pink, and it was Max from Walmart. It was $3.86 a can. And then my last color, I got it in the craft section at Walmart, and it's called Short Shots. I wish I would have gotten a lighter pink than I got, but that's what they had, and it was cheaper. It was like $2 and something a can. And on this last layer, you're going to need the inside parts too, again, to cover up the 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 first spot. So it'll give like there'll be white, then light pink, and then your darker pink. And your lighter pink will show through the spots from this stencil, and then the last stencil will show the white of the canvas. And you don't want to spray too much of this. Um, this is this is the second time I've used this spray, and it works really well. It does work really well. The first time I used it, I sprayed way too much and it gummed up on the canvas. And I still think I used too much this time, but it wasn't near as bad. So what you're going to do here is there's that little tab in that circle there. You want to cover up that bigger white part from stencil 3. And then you're going to take the circle from stencil 4 and you're going to cover up the white part from stencil 3. And then the side here, it's going to it creates a glare on the bubble, and only light pink's going to show through. No white will show through that because it wasn't in stencil 3. And then flip it over and press it down, get a good seal on it. And when I flip this over, see the top part there where the canvas is showing? That's the parts that I should have covered up. I wasn't paying attention to that. And then this is the Short Shot can. It's just a little can from Walmart. I got it in the craft section. And that's the color that I wish I'd have gotten a lighter color on. And then you're going to remove your 2 pieces from your stencil 4 from the bubble there. I just used a little piece of cardboard I had on hand. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sell the stencil for $4. I'll sell it for $4. I'm going to leave my email address in the below, and you can just contact me if you would like to buy it. I can sell it through PayPal, and then I'll just send you the file. It will only be a Silhouette file. That's the only file I have it as. It's a Silhouette file. But this is how I did it. I wouldn't normally sell the file, I'd give it away, but it seriously was a lot of work. And I hope you enjoyed this video. And if you'd like to buy the file, I'll leave my email address in the link below. Thanks for watching.